Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to my new lecture. Today, my lecture topic is productivity. Productivity is very important, especially for the businesses. Okay, because the success and the failure of the businesses depends on this productivity. Because if the productivity is low, business will make less profit because their output will be low, and if vice versa, means if their productivity is high, they can produce more, so can make more profit. So business always try to increase their productivity. So in this lecture, at first I'll define what is productivity, then I'll show you how to calculate productivity. At the same time, I'll explain different ways to improve the productivity of different factors of production. At the same time, I will discuss a division of labor, which is also related to productivity, and I will also discuss the advantages and disadvantages of productivity in this lecture. Now, let me start the detail of today's lecture. All right, so at first, productivity. Productivity is commonly defined as a ratio between the output volume and the volume of inputs. In other words, the rate at which goods are produced and the amount produced in relation to the work, time, money needed to produce them is called productivity. That means productivity is the output per unit of input. All the inputs used in the production have their own productivity. For example, labor productivity measures the output per worker in a period of time. Land productivity also measures the output of land. Okay, and capital also has its own productivity. So the formula of calculating productivity is the productivity equals to total output divided by total amount of inputs used. So this is a very easy formula to calculate productivity. That means output divided by input equals to productivity. Now, at first, we'll try to calculate the productivity of labor. Okay, so productivity of labor formula is the same formula, like total output divided by number of workers employed. To make it easy, let's consider this example. A car manufacturer produced 24,000 cars in a year with a workforce of 2,000. So that means that output is 24,000 cars and input is 2,000 workers. So what is the productivity of workers? So the productivity of workers is 24,000 divided by 2,000. That means 12. So that means in each worker in this farm can produce 12 cars in a year. So productivity of the worker in the farm is 12. Okay, now come to the methods to improve the productivity. So if the farm realizes that the productivity is very low, that means here also it is not a good productivity. One worker is producing one car in 1 month and 12 cars in 12 months. So this is not high productivity. So farms will try to increase the productivity. So at first, let us see how farms can improve the productivity of land as important factor of production. The quality of land varies. Some are fertile, can be used to grow crops and cattle, but some are dry or infertile and almost useless. So the business of the economy can increase the fertility of these lands, infertile land, by using different methods. Okay, what are the methods? First of all, use of fertilizers may improve the health of plants and raise crop yields. Pesticides also can increase crop yields by killing harmful pests. So using fertilizers, business of the economy can increase the productivity of infertile land. And secondly, some areas of land are unproductive because they are flooded. So drainage can be used to improve the flow of water off this land and thereby make it more productive. So that means if lands are flooded, so the drainage system will be helpful to increase the productivity of the land. Next is productivity of land can be increased through irrigation. It involves redirecting water from natural sources such as rivers, lakes, streams to the land that needs more water to become more productive. That means through the irrigation, water can be supplied to the dry lands and hence the productivity of the dry land can be increased. Lastly, land productivity can also be increased by using genetically modified or GM method. It involves transferring genes and DNA from one organism to another. That means using technology also in production process, it is also possible to increase the productivity. So genetically modified or GM method is most effective method here to increase the land productivity. Now come to the ways to improve labor productivity. Business and government can increase labor productivity of workers by direct investing in or creating incentives for increases in technology and human or capital, physical capital. So there are four main ways to increase the labor productivity, like training, improved motivation, improved working practices, and migration. First of all, training. One way to improve the quality of human capital is invest in training. Training involves increasing the knowledge and skills of workers so they can do their jobs more effectively. That means training helps to increase the skills of the workers by learning and through education. That is most effective way to increase the productivity of the workers or human capital. Next is improved motivation. If people are motivated at work, they will be more productive. Financial incentives such as base rates, bonus, profit sharing, etc., and non-financial incentives such as job rotation, gym facilities, mentoring programs, etc., will help to motivate the worker. That means what? If workers are motivated, that means they remain pleased, satisfied with their job, then their productivity will increase. As a result, output of the business will also increase. So business always try to motivate the workers in order to increase their productivity. Next is improved working practices. Working practices are the methods and systems of work that employees are expected to adopt when taking on a new job. Labor productivity may increase significantly by adopting new working practices. That means the working practices or working conditions, if it is favorable, comfortable for the workers, they can work smoothly, comfortably, so their productivity will increase, which will increase the output of the firms as well. Next is migration. It might be possible to improve the quality of human capital by attracting skilled workers from overseas. If immigrants are well trained and highly skilled, productivity of the local workers will also increase while learning from the skilled immigrants. That means, so skilled immigrants can share their skill with the local workers, and hence the total productivity of the workforce will also increase. Now come to ways to improve productivity of capital. So this is another important factor of production. So how the business can improve the productivity of the capital. We'll discuss this here now. Advances in technology have helped improve productivity of the capital used in all three sectors of production. That means advancement in technology. Okay, as the capital, the more advanced the capital, the more advanced the technology, the more productivity will be. So this advanced technology helps the productivity to increase in primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. Now look at the primary sector. The use of machinery such as tractors, combine harvesters, lifting equipment, irrigation system, chemicals and pesticides, biological research, etc. increase the productivity in the primary sector. That means this help to increase the production in the primary sector. So these are the capital as well. Now secondary sector, new technology, complex production plan and equipment, use of robots, computer, numerically controlled machines have led to huge increase in productivity in the secondary sector. That means here also machines, equipment, sophisticated technology, all these as the capital, all these help to increase the productivity in the secondary sector. Now tertiary sector, the provision of services has historically labor intensive, but the use of technology is becoming more widespread, which is increasing the productivity in the service sector. For example, now surgeons can carry out surgery using lasers, viewing operations on a screen with the use of fiber optic cable. So this is also capital, advanced improved capital, which increased the service in the tertiary sector. Now move to the division of labor. Division of labor is a very important concept in economics. This was introduced at first by Adam Smith, which is known as the pioneer of economics. So what is division of labor? Division of labor is an economic concept which states that dividing the total production process into different stages enables workers to focus on a specific task. If workers can concentrate on a small aspect of production, this increases overall efficiency. As a result, output also increases. So that means division of labor means just breaking down the total working process into small parts and given a special task to each worker. Look at this diagram here. Say here there are 6 workers, right? Each worker is doing different work, right? So this is called the division of labor. This worker will only do this work, this worker will do only this work, okay? So this is called the division of labor. That means whole working process is divided into 6 parts here, right? So it is called division of labor. So this division of labor increases the skills of the workers because they are doing the work repeatedly. Now, in other words, division of labor is the separation of work process into a number of tasks, with each task performed by a separate person or group of persons. It is most often applied to systems of mass production and is one of the basic organizing principles of the assembly line. So, when it is in the best large-scale production, then division of labor is very effective. So, for example, a new iPhone has innumerable examples of division of labor. The process of producing an iPhone is split up into many different parts. For example, design, hardware, software, manufacture, marketing, production, and assembly. So all these are different parts of the production. So to produce an iPhone mobile phone, these are the parts, these are the divisions, okay? Each and every worker or employees assigned a specific task. Say in the design department, the designers will work, hardware department, the hardware engineers will work. So this is how the total working process is divided into small parts. So this is called the division of labor. Now come to impacts of division of labor on workers. Division of labor will affect the workers and the business as well. Now, because it has both positive impact and negative impact on both workers and the businesses. Now look at let's look at the advantages of division of labor on the workers. First of all, focusing on the same task allows the workers to become more skilled at doing their task. The more highly skilled they are, the more they are likely to get paid. That means division of labor increases the skill of the workers. Since they are doing the same work repeatedly, so their skill increases. As they become skilled and specialist, their wage also increases. Next, they may enjoy more job satisfaction if they are highly skilled in a specialist task. So when the worker is doing the same work and he is skilled, so he will start liking the work and feeling comfort. So it will increase his job satisfaction. All right. So these are the two main advantages of division of labor to the workers. At the same time, it has some disadvantages also to the workers. First of all, one of the main problems with this specialization is the work can become boring because it is repetitive. This boredom may lead to job dissatisfaction and affect motivation. So when worker is doing the same work repeatedly, whole day, whole month, whole year, so it may make him bored, right? So if boredom comes, then he may not like the work. So it will demotivate him. Eventually, productivity will fall. So this is the disadvantage of division of labor. Another serious disadvantage is for workers that might be too specialized is the risk of unemployment. That means when one worker is specialized in doing one work, if he lose the job for any reason, then it will be very difficult for him to get another job because he is specialized in one job only. Okay, so same job, it may be difficult for him to find out, so he will remain unemployed. So this is main risk, main threat of division of labor to the worker. Next is impacts of division of labor on businesses. Businesses also get benefit and also some disadvantages also there of division of labor. First of all, advantages. Through specialization, workers can perform tasks more quickly and more accurately. Therefore, there are fewer mistakes and productivity will rise. As a result, efficiency will improve. That means if division of labor is applied, then productivity of the firms will increase. And since workers are skilled and experts, so they can do it very fast and without making mistakes. So productivity and the profit of the business will also increase. And production time is reduced because workers do not have to waste time moving from one task to another task. Since here one worker is doing one task, so he can do the same task from his own place. He need not to change his place for doing this work and that work. Okay, so this is also production time can be reduced. And the organization of production becomes easier. Specialist workers can fit more easily into a structured system of production. So when production workers becomes expert, all right, so it is easy for the business to adopt especially special working organization production process. Okay. Now next is disadvantages. If tasks get too repetitive and boring, people or workers become dissatisfied and poorly motivated. This will obviously reduce productivity and have an impact on the profitability. That means due to the division of labor, when workers are doing the same work continuously, if they become bored, then the productivity will fall. As a result, total production of the business will also fall. Next is, problem can also occur if one stage of production depends on another stage. If one stage breaks down, all other stages may also have to be stopped. So this is main threat to the business of division of labor. All right, so this is all about the productivity and division of labor. I hope you enjoyed this lecture today, and this lecture will definitely help a lot to understand the productivity and to increase the ways to increase the productivity and the impacts of division of labor. Okay, thank you very much for joining the lecture. Thank you once again.